So yesterday's session we were understanding what Pega is, and then we understood what Pega can do for our real-time projects. Okay. So finally, we concluded Pega is one automated Java tool. It is like an automated Java tool. Earlier, it was automated on C Sharp, and because of cross-platform and other things, it is like upgraded to Java. It doesn't mean that you have to know Java skill. Okay, and using this Pega, I can design any web application. So when I say web application, it can be in terms of UI part, it can be in terms of backend logic part, and it can even be in terms of database part also. So generally UI requires some kind of HTML or CSS related part, and backend might be like with Java or .NET, whatever it is. So database every time understands only SQL queries. So in any project, database will not understand other than SQL. So you take Flipkart project today. So Flipkart will have some UI screens, right? So which must be developed with HTML and CSS only. And its backend might be running on Java, and no doubt it will be having one database. And you take Amazon project, Amazon also will have some UI layer, and backend might be on .NET, and no doubt database must be again same. And you take Facebook project, it will have some UI, and it might be having backend as Python, and database is again same. You take any project in the world, front end and backend, that is HTML part as well as SQL query part will be same, and in between whatever the backend logic, that alone will be changing. So this database understands only SQL query. Database will not understand Python. Database will not understand Java. It will not understand .NET or whatever it is. So this is something universal, understandable for every technology in the world. Likewise, HTML is also something universal which will be understandable by every technology in the world. So maybe even after 100 years or maybe even after many years, so this part and this part, there will not be major change. So this alone will be like modified. So today, Pega is introduced something as automated. So where in this Pega development studio, if I log in, I can drag and drop and design automatically UI part will be configured. And maybe on this UI part, if I'm supposed to click on a submit button, if I wanted to send an email, that respect to Java code is also ready-made as I shown you yesterday. So in Pega, any kind of backend requirement, we are having such Java code ready and we call that as OOTB. Can someone please tell me the full form of OOTB? Yesterday I told you, come on.
Out
Out
of the
of
Okay.
the
box.
It is like out of the box. So what do you mean by out of the box? So we are supposed to say like OOTB ante, which is predefined in Pega. So any background requirement you take, everything is predefined in Pega. So you as a developer should struggle in understanding how to use that. You need not write any extra customized Java code. You are not supposed to write any extra Java code. You are not supposed to write any extra UI part. You need not write any extra SQL query. So you should know everything in terms of understanding and in terms of implementing, which is like more toughest part. So finally, using this Pega, we can design any kind of web application. So UI part and in fact backend part and in fact database part also like inbuilt. And not only these three things, there will be extra things of reporting and other stuff also. I'll talk about this in some time. So finally, Pega is one automated Java tool. It is completely developed on Java. And its front-end part is developed on HTML5, right? But in the latest versions of Pega, this front-end is developed with JSX, JavaScript combined with XML, which is like React coding. So what we are calling it as a cloud concept, which is part of Constellation. I'll explain this in some, maybe when we're working with cloud concepts. Okay. And if you are joining with project today, and if your manager is simply giving you a screen to work on this, And in this particular screen, you can see everything as like UI elements, right? As I told you, UI elements will be of two types. What are those two things? Come on. Chapandi, tell me. What are like two
Da-
types of UI elements? Yesterday I told you.
Data capture and data
Data capture and then
display.
data display. Data display elements. Now I can see a button. So what is this? Is it data capturing part or data displaying part? Whatever the button you are seeing, it comes under displaying or capturing a.
Good.
It is data display. Is it holding any value? No. So this is data display. This is data display. So this is data display. Everything is like data display if it is not holding any value. So this is holding customer first name. This is holding customer last name. This is holding customer age. So these are like data capturing elements. I'm trying to capture customer first name via text box. I'm trying to capture customer gender via radio button. I'm trying to capture customer date of birth via calendar. Maybe I wanted to capture customer country via a drop down. So these are all data capturing elements. Consider this as your Amazon registration page. So if you try to open like Amazon.com, so there will be an Amazon logo, right? And there will be a video how to register whatever it is. And here you are supposed to enter your details. Once you click on submit button or login button, so what they are doing is they're trying to capture the data. They're trying to store the data. Where? Obviously in database table. So in database table, what is like being captured? Whatever you are entering. It's not like whatever available in the entire screen. So is it required to store this Amazon logo in this database for your customer ID? No. So this is holding only the data what you are entering. So in database, I'll expect first name as one column, last name as one column, age as one column. How many things you are capturing? No doubt those many columns must be automatically generated. So finally, every data capturing element should be associated with a column into its database table. Will everyone agree with this statement? That's right.
Yeah.
So every data capturing thing should be maintained as an individual column into database table. Okay, fine. Now, in this first name, further I have to take care of validation part. So if I'm entering first name as 1, 2, 3, it is not accepted, right? It is immediately supposed to throw an error message. So throwing an error message, what we call it as validations. So generally validations will be of two types. I'm just giving you one line of statement for everything what we'll discuss in future. So validations generally will be of two types. So one is like server side validation and the other one what we call it as client side validation. I'll just give you a couple of examples. There you will say what is client and what is server. So consider this is Pega login page, whatever it is. No doubt I have to log in with my ID and password, right? So if I'm trying to enter my details, if I click on login, what it should do? It has to take me to the next screen, what we call it as development studio, where as a developer, I can drag and drop and design. Now, if I enter some dummy value like this, and if I'm just trying to click on login button, what are you expecting? Will it take me to the next screen or will there be chances of throwing an error saying like something invalid? Then what are you expecting? Come on.
Yeah,
Some
throwing
kind of
error.
error message, right? So let me try clicking on login. So what is it saying? Information entered is not correct. So how are we getting this message? Once I click on login, it is cross-checking in my database. Antena? So this ID and password is maintained somewhere. So it has to check for that reference. No doubt reference is database table. So it is running one SQL query, hitting the respective table and checking whether this ID and password is correct or not. If so, it is taking some positive return. If not, it is throwing some error message. So whenever you are getting error message, it must be part of validation. Now someone please guess and tell me what is this type of validation, server or client? What might be this type of validation? Is it server
Server.
side or client side? Just guess and
Server.
okay. So let me explain you scenario 2 also. So scenario 2 here is consider this as my screen number 1 or consider this as like screen 1. And here I'm entering my PAN card number. So how PAN card number format should be? A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, F. Ante kada? So for every one of us, PAN card format will be the same. If I'm entering like 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm getting an error saying like, please enter correct PAN card format. So this is what one error message we are getting. And here we are getting one error message. So you should know this error message is kind of client side. So if something format is not correct, okay. So maybe if I'm entering as it is like A, B, C, D, E, F, so it will be accepting. Is that a valid PAN card number? No. Is it a valid one? No. So here it is not checking whether this is really correct PAN card number or not, but it is just looking for the format. So format is correct. Okay, so this is accepted. And here it is strictly checking in my database table whether there is any person available with the valid ID or not. So e-process it is hitting database table and comparing and then throwing error. And in this process, it is not comparing anything in the backend database table. It is just looking for the format. So we call this as client side, client and browser level validation. And we call this type of validation as server side. So when you are asked to work on any UI screen, it's not just about like drag and dropping. That is what the heads up I'm giving you. So you are supposed to take care of alignment part, meaning this element should occupy 20% screen size, and that too in every device whatever used. So if I'm testing the same in my mobile phone or in a laptop or a bigger screen or a TV or whatever it is, whatever the design we are doing today, it should be properly aligned in every screen resolution. In that way, you have to get this developed. So you have to take care of styling part, and you have to take care of some background coloring part, and you have to take care of some images in the header, and you have to take care of this label to be displayed in bold, and you have to make sure that this has mandatory in red color, and whatever the error messages you are getting, it must be of 8 pixel size only, and it must be in dark red color. Okay, and on click of this button, I'm supposed to get one pop-up where I have to collect some documents from the user or attachments from the user. Maybe if I mouse over on this informational window, I should get one smart tooltip. So, or if I'm not entering the details correctly, I have to get some error messages, everything. Maybe if I click on submit button, I'm supposed to store the details into database table. If required, I'm supposed to store the details into different database table also as a backup. Everything your business analyst will just give you one line of requirement, and that based on that requirement, you should know complete in and around of that requirement. Don't just simply think like front end and drag and dropping. No, it is all about like end-to-end design, starting from UI part to database part. You as a Pega developer should do everything without any particular coding required. So this is what the heads up I'm giving at day one itself. Fine. So maybe after you drag and dropping, after you designing this UI part, so generally what will be the next requirement ante? So consider this is our UI screen. So in the UI screen itself, so mostly you should have a button, right? Something about register button or submit button or login button, whatever it is, there must be a button. So on click of this button, generally what might happen? So if you're logging into Amazon, if you're registering something into Amazon, so you will be seeing some UI page, right? And there will be some button, no doubt it might be a submit button or continue button or finish button or create button. So in Pega, we'll be having different type of buttons. Okay, whatever it is, there will be one button. On click of this button, what might be the background requirements? So generally background requirements might be sending an email. So whenever you click on register, whatever the email ID customer is entering here, for him, one email must be triggered. That can be one common background requirement. And something can be like storing the details into database table. So data must be stored into database table. And in fact, sometimes details must be stored into different tables also. What do you mean by different table? Consider today is January 1st. So you are trying to onboard to a company like TCS. So if I'm like HR there, what I'll do, I'll try to run something related to onboarding like employee. I'm supposed to onboard an employee. So where I'll be having maybe few screens to collect your data. So I have screen 1 to collect your personal details, maybe your PAN card number and everything. Screen 2 to collect your past educational details. Screen 3 might be your employment details. Maybe screen 4, final offer letter generation, whatever it is, there will be some 3 or 4 screens generated. So once I click on submit button, immediately that part of data must be stored into database table. In screen number 1, if I'm collecting 10 values like your first name, last name, and if all these are data capturing elements, no doubt in its database table, those many columns must be there. And for your employee ID like 1, 2, 3, 4, your first name, last name must be available under the respective columns. Similarly, screen 2 data also will be added as those many columns. So this is what finally happens, right? So on a successful registration, so no doubt the whole data will be available in TCS database. Okay, that is fine. That is anyway known. Now, if you are an employee in TCS from January 1st, you are even applicable for some health insurance also. Health insurance might be provided by a third party like MediAssist. So MediAssist is one third party insurance company. Okay, so for any problem, health problem you get, so this team will assist you. So meaning as an HR is collecting some details from you, right? So these details will be stored immediately into their database. And no doubt these data is even being stored into this table also immediately. So you are not again coming to this office and showing your TCS ID card, and you are not asking like again registration here, right? So automatically data, whatever collected from this Pega application, it is by default storing data into database table, and some part of this must be stored into third party database also. So how do you handle these scenarios? Everything will be your background requirement. For everything, we have OOTB ready. Okay, you need not bother about writing SQL queries with third-party applications. You not write SQL queries with your internal databases. You not write any Java code for sending an email. Everything is ready-made. So you should learn everything in terms of practical way, and you should implement the same in your real-time projects. That is what expected. So far everyone clear, right? Following, right, every one of you?
Yes, Chandra.
Right? Okay, fine. So we are just understanding some high-level view of what Pega is, what Pega is trying to do. Now, to be more clear, to be more particular, so Pega is used for developing internal applications of any organization. So for what is our concluding statement? So Pega is used for developing web application, right? But I'm trying to rephrase it. So Pega is used for developing internal applications of any organization. What do you mean by internal applications? Suppose if you wanted to get one credit card from a Citibank, generally what you'll do? So you'll try to open your laptop and you'll try to open Google page. And there, maybe in browser, you'll hit like citi.com. Am I correct? You will try to hit its URL. You will be getting some information. You'll be getting some information. And this information, whatever you are getting, so the same info even I'll get. You might be somewhere part of Australia. I might be somewhere part of maybe India. Another person might be somewhere from USA. For every one of us, citibank.com, if this is the URL we are hitting, we'll be getting same information, right? Why? Because this information is hosted something in public internet. So if something is available internet for every one of us, we'll get the same information. Okay. Okay. So maybe if you wanted to go for a credit card request, I think you cannot actually do anything from your internet. So what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to visit bank in person. Consider this as a bank. And in bank, there will be different counters, right? Counter number 1, where they're dealing with credit card requests. Counter number 2, where there will be like loan requests. Counter number 3, where account creation is happening. Counter number 4, something like cashier portal, whatever it is. And if you are normally customer entering the bank, so maybe there will be one representative here asking for the query. If you say that I'm looking for a credit card, they'll ask you to go to counter number 1. Likewise, all the credit card customers will be standing in the queue there. And all the loan customers will be standing here. And if I'm the bank employee, so there will be bank employees here, right? And this bank employee, what he's trying to do, he's trying to use one application. He'll be using one laptop or system, right? Within which there will be one application where credit card requests will be there. And this particular application, only this person can access. So you as a customer, can you access this application? No, right? So you as a loan customer, can you access this application? No. So meaning under Citibank, so there are multiple internal applications which are supposed to be worked by those internal employees only. So everyone in the public cannot access these internal applications. Along with which Citi will have one main website also where every one of us can access. This is just for informational ante. So this is an application and all these are also web applications. But we call this application as internet application. And all these applications are intranet applications. So these internal applications will be accessed only by those employees, that too from their server only. So if I'm a bank employee, can I access the same application from my home? And no, no. So these are like server-based applications. Now my final statement is using Pega, we are designing internal applications of any organization. For Citibank, there will be external application as well as n number of internal applications. Pega is used for developing internal applications only. Okay, so if you say that I'm a Pega developer in Citi client, maybe a Pega developer for Bank of America client, maybe a Pega developer for Apollo Hospital client. So this is like you are developing their internal applications. That's it. So can't we use Pega for developing external applications? And yes, we can do it. But any client is not choosing Pega for their external applications because of license issues. I'll talk about this license, how client should take Pega license, and this Pega license will be based on 2 factors. So in either of the 2 factors, if they are taking, this will be much costlier. So developing an external applications using Pega will be like not budget friendly. That is where they will not choose this Pega for external development. It doesn't mean that we cannot develop. We can develop, but it is like not budget friendly. So we will be using Pega for internal applications only. So internal applications. So finally, Pega is used for developing internal applications of any organization. So I'll give you with one more example. Suppose if you wanted to book one train ticket. So particularly in India, we'll be having a website called IRCTC. Am I correct? IRCTC. This is one website where we can book our train tickets. So if you wanted to book one Tatkal ticket, generally what you'll do, maybe at sharp 10 o'clock, you will be opening your laptop and you'll be trying to hit on this URL. And there you'll try to book your ticket, and this process might take minimum of 2 to 3 minutes time. And can we guarantee 100% confirmation? All right? No. So even if it is taking like long time, we cannot guarantee that 100% confirmation. Instead of you doing on your own laptop, if you go to railway counter in person, and if I'm the railway employee there, so what I'll do is I'll try to book a ticket for you, and this process will not take more than 10 seconds time. And that to 100% chances are there. So what is happening in scenario one? What is happening in scenario two? And so this railway employee, whatever the application they are using, so this application no one else can access. Meaning, as a public customer, I cannot access this. But this is something like public website where there will be n number of users logging in. And this application will be worked by only internal employees. Since this is developed for internal employees, this is concentrated more on business improvement. Business improvement meaning, so this will not be that, what you say, that colorful. So if we ever looked at this application, it will be like black and white screen. And this will be more colorful. So this will be loaded with extra CSS styles. This will be loaded with extra Silverlight technologies. But here, this application is not meant for public. So they don't want to waste this application by overloading with extra things. They want this application to be loading very fast. So if this application is fast, they can book huge number of tickets, right? How many tickets they book? So that business will be increased. So all these internal applications is what Pega is like developing today. So it's not taking care of external applications. All the Australian government projects. Suppose in India, if you wanted to construct a house, or if you wanted to take some license for any shop, whatever it is, something government permissions are involved, right? So what generally you'll do for government permissions? You'll directly go to some municipal office or some corporation office, or you'll try to go to some Mi-Seva or E-Seva, whatever it is. So their employees will be there. They'll try to use some internal applications what I'm not supposed to access. So such government, Australian government particularly, such Australian government internal applications, everything is developed on Pega. And that entire project is running from India only. Okay, so I don't want to give that consultancy company's name. So entire Australian projects are running on Pega. And you take IKEA. Suppose if you go to IKEA store, what generally you'll do? You'll be selecting some products, right? After that, you might go to counter number 1, where there must be some billing to be happening. You cannot access it. Maybe an employee might be doing that. And after which there will be some counter where you are supposed to go there and ask for door delivery. And there might be one more counter where there might be something related to replacement. And maybe one more counter, something related to transit, whatever it is. So all these are internal applications. There will be one main website called ikea.com. This every one of us can access. And these are like internal, only those employees must access. So today, all the internal applications, even for IKEA, it is developed on Pega. Okay, so now what I'm trying to say is, Pega is trying to automate internal applications in any sector. It might be in banking sector. So it might be in retail sector. Okay, it might be in insurance. It might be in healthcare. It might be like e-commerce. Okay, or it might be something related to housing, or something related to government projects, okay, or petroleum projects, whatever it is. Every organizational internal applications is what Pega is trying to do. Okay, so importance of these internal applications are like, so this application is used for increasing their business. With their main website, they'll not get any business generated daily, right? Suppose if I open city.com, will there be any revenue generated for them? No. If I go for a bank and if the employee available there, if he's trying to register one request for me, their business is generating. So all these applications are for increasing their business. How many credit cards they create, how many loans they create, how many accounts they create. All these meant for business improvement. And coming to the earlier example, how many railway tickets they book. So all these are business generating. So we call these type of applications as business processing applications. And any of the tool, you say Pega or you say OutSystems, you say APN or maybe IBM related tools, whatever. Any of the tool which is available in the market today. So if this tool is meant for automating these business processing applications, we call this as business process management tools. So finally, Pega is one BPM tool which is taking care of business processing applications. That is nothing but internal applications. So technically, we should call this as implementation applications. So in Pega, so technical game antam vitili implementation applications or normal high level low, we call this as intranet applications. So in Pega particularly, we call this as implementation applications. So in interview, they might directly ask you, so what is your client? Suppose if you say like, I worked in Tech Mahindra for 3 years, and they might ask you, who is your client? So city might be your client. And within this city client, so what internal application or what could a Pega kabatti? So what implementation you worked on? You should say it as I worked on loans project, loans management, or I worked on salary management, or I worked on credit card application. They might ask you, can you please explain what is that application all about? So you should say this credit card application is initially to check for the eligibility of the customer, and then next we are trying to collect his past details, past history details, whatever. You are supposed to explain the entire project in next 2 to 3 minutes of time, and in that process even you should explain what Pega things you use there. So in this particular screen, maybe for email triggering I am using this part. Maybe every day midnight 12 o'clock I am supposed to send an email for all my credit card customers. So I used one job scheduler, I use this recurring time interval, and I use this activity, and I loop this activity for a number of times. Okay, so I followed this deployment process from there to there. So whatever it is, everything related to this implementation is what they will ask you in interviews. So final statement here is Pega is used for developing internal applications of any organization. Okay, so consider today, we all of us wanted to start a bank from Hyderabad. Consider we are every one of you in Hyderabad and we collectively wanted to start a bank. And for this particular bank, no doubt there will be, or we are in a plan to first go with credit card application and parallel with loans and accounts and content. First, we have to create one main website, right? abc.com. This will not be done with Pega. This will be done with normal UI pages, HTML pages. This will be static. So we are supposed to design one credit card application. So where I have to take care of UI part, maybe backend part, database part, reporting part, whatever it is. So to design any application from scratch, so if I'm trying to go with traditional approach, meaning I have to hire my UI development team, I have to hire my Java development team, I have to hire my database development team, and I have to take care of my versionized management teams. So there will be different teams to be hired, and they will be like overall count will be more, employee count will be more, meaning we as a client should pay for every of this employee, and that too they will be designing everything from zero. So they have to write Java code for writing or sending an email. They have to write Java code for automatically running one SQL query. Everything they have to do from zero, right? No doubt it will take long time and it will be of more budget also. If we are choosing Pega to design this application, so Pega will provide more number of features. So what are those features ante? If Pega is used as our tool, No doubt all our applications will be developed. UI part will be developed, database part will be developed, and even Java part, everything will be developed. Along with development, there are some other things also to be taken care. So Pega is providing something called reporting or data visualization part also. What do you mean by reporting? Or what do you mean by data visualization? So reporting is a concept of pulling out the raw data in some pictorial form. Suppose if I'm an railway employee. Okay, so consider I'm a railway station master. And you are like employee who are like in ticket booking system. So this application is developed on Pega. And TCS is like vendor for that. So here there are like Pega developers, they designed our complete project and we are the real users and we are using it. Okay, so this application is fully developed using Pega by this development team. Okay, they did not write any coding and this is fully developed. So apart from development, in terms of real users, if they wanted to go for some statistics, as a railway station master, I wanted to check how my business is. So meaning how many credit cards are issued today, or how many railway tickets are booked today, out of which how many are cancelled, how many are like confirmed, how many are like maybe still in waiting list. So if I wanted to get this raw data, no doubt there will be a database connected to this application. All the ticket history will be maintained there, and that too in some raw format. Now, as a railway station master, if I wanted to see this data, if it is in same row and column structure, it is not that user friendly for statistics. Instead of that, if I get this raw data in some pictorial form, something like bar graphs or something like pie charts or something about like concentric circles, then it will be more easy way of reporting, right? So getting out raw data in some pictorial format, that we call it as reporting. This is one best example. So every one of us mostly will be using smartwatches and maybe Apple Watch or Android Watch, whatever it is. And in that smartwatch, there will be something called health tracker, right? What do you mean by health tracker? So there it will show you how many glasses of water you drink per day, how many steps you walk per day, and how many hours you sleep, and how many flights you climb. Okay, and how many calories you burn for today, whatever it is, everything is first maintained in one database table. No doubt your smartwatch will have some storage, maybe a memory card in our common language. There will be some storage, and there will be a table holding all your exercise tracking. And this table data is visualized in some concentric circles. We call this as concentric circles. How to implement concentric circles in Pega application? This will be a straight away interview question. Okay, so if I wanted to implement this in concentric circles, I have to take care of how many rings I wanted. One for sleep, one for glasses of water, maybe one for steps. And if I wanted to take care of one for calories also, how many rings you wanted, so that you have to first configure. And each ring in what color, that you have to take care. And that particular ring, what should be the description and what should be the value. Meaning in my database table, I have something like 64 glasses. It might be like monthly report on contact. So it is showing something like 64. Maybe my target is also 64. So can you see this ring is 100% closed? Yes, right? So getting this raw data in some pictorial format. So that is what we call it as reporting or data visualization. So this is inbuilt in Pega. Suppose if we are not using Pega, consider for this application development, if I'm not using Pega, I have to develop everything from zero. Even for reporting, what I have to do is I have to take one more tool license. Tableau winner. Is someone please confirm me? So you might be coming across Tableau, right? You might be coming across something like Power BI, right? So Tableau and Power BI, what are these two tools? So these are like meant for reporting purpose. Okay, whatever the raw data I have, if it is to be reported in some pictorial way, this is what we'll use. Okay, we are supposed to take the Tableau license. We are supposed to hire a developer for that or administrator for that. But in Pega, reporting part is also inbuilt. I'll simply drag and drop a concentric circle and I'll decide how many rings I wanted. And I'll give some coloring defined and I'll give some label part. Everything will be automatically done. So meaning whatever a Tableau developer is doing there, you as a Pega developer doing the same output, but without writing any code or without you having any proper skill. So that is where. So Pega is developing all the applications advanced way, as well as it is even providing some reporting part also. Fine. And along with which Pega is even providing something called integrations also. So what do you mean by integration? Integration meaning integrating with a third party application. So as I told you, integrations will be of generally two types. So if this is like Citibank application, what I'm developing. Generally in a Citibank application, maybe for credit card application. So here the representative. So we technically call these people as CSRs, customer service representatives. So this CSR, he's supposed to log in and he's supposed to recreate credit card request for all the customers, right? So maybe first customer is coming and asking for one credit card to be generated. So what we are supposed to do, first we have to check for his eligibility. So eligibility in India is based on the PAN card number. I'll collect his PAN card number. Based on the PAN card number, we are supposed to get his past loan history as well as something CIBIL score. So if this is not good, he is not supposed to be proceeded further. Maybe if this is good, so we'll try to go for full length approval or partial loan approval, whatever it is. So on click of submit button, we are getting this data from where it's not from our city database. It is trying to send a request to third party application, what I told it as RBA. Yesterday I told you the same example. And this might be their database. So on clicking of this, a request is sent to third party application and they are trying to process their database and they're sending back the response. Or sometimes they might give direct DB access, their DB access also, we're trying to get back the response. So we call this as integration. So integrating with third party application, that is one scenario. Integrating with external databases. So these integrations are also inbuilt in Pega. So we are supposed to go with external authentications in this case. We are supposed to go with external API calls via REST services, maybe via SOAP services, maybe via Connect SQL services, whatever it is. So slowly you'll come to know everything in detail. But for now, with as like one line of statement, what I'm saying is Pega is even providing integrations. Okay. So when I say integrations, consider this Citibank application is developed on Pega. Pega ante backend ఏంటి? Java nena? So Pega ante what is like background? Java, right? It is built on Java.
Java only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we are trying to integrate with something like RBI application, so can we guarantee that this application also developed on Pega? No. It might be developed on different application, different technology also, right? So meaning two applications must be properly integrated irrespective of background technology. That is its specialty. Okay, so your backend technology is different. Here it is different, but still integration should happen. Meaning as an Citibank employee, if I click on submit button, one request will be sent. They might not understand whatever the Java request I sent them. So they're developed on .NET, right? Maybe if they're understanding, if they're processing everything, they will be sending the response in .NET, which my application might not understand. So irrespective of background technologies, integrations should happen successfully. So how it will technically happen ante? So between communication should happen in terms of common languages. As I earlier told you, HTML is something common or universal where every technology in the world will understand. So Java will understand HTML. Am I correct? So .NET will understand HTML. So if I'm trying to convert my input from Java to HTML and send it, they will try to understand that and they'll convert in their language for processing, whatever it is. So in between communication should happen every time in terms of universal languages. So common universal languages are HTML, XML and JSON, okay, and text format and sometimes CSV even. So most commonly used are like XML and JSON, JavaScript object notation. So this is extended markup language, whatever it is, these are like most commonly used. Okay, fine. So now in Pega, so such level of JSON conversions or such level of XML conversions or such level of integrating with the different third-party applications, everything is inbuilt. You need not write any extra uh, parse rule is what you will call, but you might not understand today itself. You need not write anything extra for system to understand in between. You'll straight away create the respective thing and get it integrated successfully. We're having everything as like in wizards given. So today you might be joining a project where city might be your client. I might be joining in a project where RBI might be client, right? So this is developed on Pega, this is developed on Pega. So your Pega application is like a requester. You are requesting something from the other application. And my Pega application is like a provider. So if someone is requesting, I'm sending back some response, right? We call this as provider. So in interviews, they'll straight away ask you, did you work on integrations part? Yes, I think. So what level of integration? Is it like one level or even two level? So there will be maximum up to two, sometimes more also. What do you mean by two level or what do you mean by three level? I'll give you with one more small example. So consider this as like Citibank and this is like RBI. So in Citibank, for anything, we'll be sending a request to RBI and they'll try to process it and they'll send back the response, right? If I directly go for an Citibank as a customer, this is the process happening. But all the banking applications, all the insurance applications, they will be running on third-party channel also. What do you mean by third-party channel? So consider there is one consultancy called ABC. You'll daily get a call from, so most of us will daily get a call saying like we are calling from HDFC or we are calling from Citibank. Are you looking for any credit card or not? This is what they'll ask. But these are not original HDFC employees. So there will be something called ABC consultancy and a person from here will call you. So if you are in need of that requirement, maybe if you are looking for a loan really. So what they will ask is, this person will ask you for your PAN card number just to check for the eligibility. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is what they'll call, or they'll type. Once they click on submit button, they will be getting some loan history, right? They're trying to process some request. So here, this data ultimately will be available in RBI database. So it doesn't mean on click of submit button, this request is sent to RBI and they're sending back response. It doesn't mean. Why? Because ABC is not an valid bank. This is something a brokering system or a mediating system or a consultancy system where it is working for so and so Citibank. So once they click on submit button, this input will reach to Citi and Citi will send the same input to RBI and RBI will send back the response to Citi and from there it will be again sent back. So if you are working on this application as a Pega developer, you are getting response on two level of integrating, right? Maybe if I'm a developer here, I'm trying to make my system acting like an requester as well as provider. So I am a provider for this first one. No? And I'm a requester from the third one. So in what level you worked on, this is what they'll ask you. So how are like data sent in between? So is it like used with XML or JSON or with REST structure or SOAP structure? Everything they'll ask. Okay, so in terms of integrations, you have to learn everything. And again, coming back here, so Pega is completely available with such wizards ready. For integrating part, you need not design anything from scratch. You have everything ready. You should know how to use, how to make your system acting like an requester, how to make your system acting like an provider. Everything should be done using this. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to say. So if I'm developing any application with Pega, development will be made easy. Reporting part will be there. Integrating with third-party applications is also pretty simple. And even Pega is providing something called versioning part and even something called deployment part. What do you mean by versioning? So consider today I joined in company like TCS as a developer. So City is my client and the City project I'm trying to develop here. So it is supposed to be completed in 1 year, maybe, after which my team will take care of that. Okay, our users will be using that. Okay. So here as a developer, I'll develop everything. Once development phase is done, what will be the next phase until testing phase, right? So for a complete project to be designed, what are the phases available? First, development phase. Next, testing phase, also called that UF phase. And what is the next phase? Someone please tell me quickly. What will be the next phase after testing?
Right.
Hmm? Sorry?
Test QA, I mean, UAT, UAT comes next.
Then QA, then staging or UAT. UAT and user acceptance testing, the real users. Okay, so here, this application, first name, last name, whatever, as a developer, I'm designing this, right? So my business analyst will sit with the client and whatever the requirements they are sending, okay, whatever the requirements they are looking for, my business analyst will ask me to do that. Okay, so I have done it perfectly. Whether I have done this correctly or not, my testing will test it. So my testing team, if they are finding out any defects, again, it will come back to development and I have to again redesign it. Again, it will go for development. Again, for an issues, it will come back. So whatever the code I have done initially, code and it's not physical code or whatever the design I have done initially, so it will be sent to testing team. And again, one more version I'm trying to use for defect fixing, again, I'm sending it. And one more version I'm trying to create and fix it. So whatever the initial data you designed, it is versionized, version 1 for defect fixes 1, version 2 for some other extra changes, version 3 some other changes. So there will be multiple versions maintained on one particular code. So you take your mobile phone itself. If you are using Android, so there will be some OS version number, right? 14, 14.1, 14.2, 14.3. No doubt 14.1 and 14.2, there will be minor changes. Some extra changes are added. So initially, whatever I develop, if there are something like extra changes to be done, I have to create it as a new version and I have to develop there and that will be reached into the next phase. So if testing team is also like signing off, if they're saying everything as perfect, then it will go to the next phase called staging. Real users will come. So real bank employees, they'll come and they'll check for any modifications required. So they'll test it. So if there are like any issues observed now, again, it will go to development team. So here testing team will be blamed. So why this issue is not identified at testing phase? So why it is like identified in UAT? This is straight away defect, what you people are doing. So some escalations is what you'll get, that is different. So here, real users, apart from identifying the defects, they will even suggest us more. Suppose screen 1 is designed in such a way to collect the details, and generally there will be two buttons of cancel and submit, right? Generally. Okay, cancel or proceed. Okay, so my business analyst asked me to include two buttons like cancel and submit. What I have done as this testing team tested it. Now users might come and they can say like our team is accustomed to include submit button to the left. After they collecting the data, they are accustomed to click on this button which is on the left side. Now I can see this button showing on the right side. By mistake, if they click on this button, it might lead to cancel. So can you please change this? This is what the suggestion will get. It's not a defect. It's like a suggestion. UAT suggestions is what you will get. Again, it will come back to development. Again, one more version has to be created. Now testing team, again UAT. Once UAT is fine, next pre-prod, next production. Likewise, there will be different phases. So here, whatever the development you have done, one version is deployed to the next phase, right? And then next version, it is like deployed here. Next version, it is deployed. So maintaining the code into different versions, for that, we have to take one more tool license. TFS is most famous thing. Team Foundation Server ఉంటుంది. So what is this extra tool doing ante? So code what we developed, it is like versionized, but in Pega. For such versionized, version control mechanism is already there in Pega. You need not take any extra tool license. You need not hire any extra developer for that or administrator for that. You need not again pay for him. So which is inbuilt. Okay. And as I'm saying that there will be deployment process also. Deployment ante, so moving of code from one environment to another environment. So this process is what we call it as deployment. So in terms of deployment, generally manual deployment will be there and automated deployment will be there. CI/CD deployment, whatever. So there will be different level of deployments. So few clients will be using DevOps tools for their deployment between environments. And if it is the scenario, they are supposed to take this tool license and they are supposed to hire some administrators for that and they have to pay them. But Pega is even providing inbuilt deployment mechanism where you need not purchase for any extra tools or not hire any extra developers. So it is providing end-to-end solution, starting from application creation to final deployment. Pega is giving us the complete solution. So all the clients today are choosing Pega for their complete development because they need not hire any extra developers. They not take any extra licenses also. So this is where it is giving end-to-end solution and there are like clients attracted for Pega and there are huge projects on Pega today. Okay, fine. And since we are in this discussion, let me give you one interview question based on this. One interview question is, consider a scenario where I'm giving you Pega access. Okay. So today you will join some company, right? And if I'm your manager, I have to give this Pega ID created for you. Then only you can log in and then only you can develop or you can test whatever it is you have to do. So you will be created with some ID and some password. And if you log in, it will take you to the next screen, right? So it might be in the development phase. If I'm a developer, my manager will give me development studio access. If I join the same company as a tester, so this environment is what I'll access. Okay, fine. So now interview question is, after you logging into Pega, so you should know on your own what is the environment about. So where did you log in? So did you log into development environment? Or did you log into testing environment? Or did you log into production environment? So where did you log in? How to identify? This is what they'll ask. So why they'll ask you this question is, if you logged into production environment, so there will be developers as well as the production support guys, right? So if I'm a production support person, I'll be logging into production environment. If you are a developer, you will be logging into development environment. So you are encouraged to do anything in this environment, but I'm not entertained to do everything because this is production environment. So you should not do whatever you wanted. So before I logging in or before I'm doing anything here, I wanted to first know what environment I logged in. So how to identify what is the environment you logged in? That is what they'll ask you. Okay, I'll show you that tomorrow. I'm supposed to log in, right? So for that, I have to create operator IDs and then I have to show you. This I'll explain tomorrow. But for today, you just should understand Pega is providing end-to-end solution for the clients. There are huge Pega projects today. And tomorrow I'll explain you something about certifications part, and after which we'll start creating a new application. So there I'll explain you how to install Pega and everything. You can have this Pega installed maybe for tomorrow's session also, or maybe after 2 days also, doesn't matter. Okay, so next class I'll talk about this kind of certification and some other basic questions, and then we'll start our actual discussion. So clear, right, every one of you?
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay, so tomorrow also every one of you please join with the same meeting link. Okay, and that's fine. So if you wanted to talk to me, you can call me personally. I'll be there. Clear, right? So good to close.
Yes, sir.